Hello, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. We're not really sure what hour it is because we had the Fora holiday party last night. And we were just saying that although some of us went home at a reasonable hour, some of us did not. Us too, you can see how fresh we are. We went home. So we are excited though that it is Friday and excited to be talking about Miami, which is particularly today meaningful because it is, let's see, it was 22 degrees when I walked my dog this morning. Ross also is a dog owner. So we are freezing and we would much rather be in Miami being a lot warmer. If you are a newer advisor and you haven't been on one of these before, I like to just give you guys a quick brief on what this is. So what is it? It's meant to be something that helps you understand a destination better, even a place that you already know well. We like to do a little dive into not only just the hotels, and we're not going to do a comprehensive look at every single hotel in Miami because we'd be here until next Friday, but also some of the restaurants, the neighborhoods, what to know, how to plan an itinerary. Because again, even if you've been a few times, you may be thinking about it through your own head and not quite how a different client. So we want to give you some advice on how to match make your client to the right trip. So welcome if you're new. And for those of you who aren't new, you know, these are also recorded and in Portal, so you can find them later. Now, I normally lead these, but I have to go to a travel industry lunch this afternoon, not too long from now. So we have the amazing Ross here, who you all know from training, who will be leading, who knows Miami probably better than I do. So we're excited to tag team on this one. All right, so what are we covering today? Again, why Miami? Location and getting there. Hopefully that is obvious. A bit of a 101 and a sample itinerary. And then we have some great recommendations, not only from us on our favorite hotels, but also from our advisors and a little bit more after that. So remember the marketing materials that I mentioned, keep an eye out for these. These are really great when you want to like flex on what you've just learned. You can share it out on social if you're a social media person. If you're not, don't worry, we're going to give you a cheat sheet. I find these really helpful if I just want to like send it out to a client, like, hey, here's a sample itinerary. That's the kind of thing that gets you that fast response. It's really important with clients. I think the quicker you can give them something to look at, the more they're sort of engaged with you. And then a MailChimp template. I'm a big believer in email marketing. So keep an eye for that because that is something that you can just easily upload and shoot out over email. One thing to know, and I know we've been saying this a lot on trainings right now, is there is a huge uptick in bookings right after the new year. So basically everybody who is planning right now is probably planning a lot of last minute stuff for festive. There is still availability in Miami and around South Florida. But what happens when people get together for the holidays with their friends and their family is they all start thinking about what they're doing in 2025 and what they haven't planned yet. So be prepared, have these things, and these are great moments to send out that email to say, if you're thinking about a warm weather getaway come January or February, let me know. Let's talk Miami. So why Miami? I mean, why not? It is easy to get to. There's tons of airlift, and that makes a big difference in terms of finding flights that are affordable because wouldn't you rather splurge on a great hotel, not a terrible experience at an airport? And it's really for everybody. So the clients to book here, it's couples, it's groups, it's the party scene, it's just vegging out on a beach, it's families, it's really anyone can find their place in Miami. I'd say typical length of stay, it's probably more of like a weekend, long weekend kind of place. Certainly you might see over longer periods people spending more time here. There's enough to do to keep people entertained for at least a week. But I'd say generally it's more kind of a 3 to 4 nighter. One thing I like to remind people of is that Fort Lauderdale Airport is really a lot smaller than the Miami Airport. Miami Airport's quite big. If you're going into South Beach or sort of main Miami, the Miami Airport is a lot closer. But Fort Lauderdale is a good one to look at just to compare pricing, to compare airlift, timing, all of that. And it is, especially if you're doing North Beach, Surfside, Bal Harbor, actually, it's really easy to get there from the Fort Lauderdale Airport. Good connections there as well for people who are combining with other places. JetBlue actually does a lot of connections through that Fort Lauderdale Airport. And we're not talking about Fort Lauderdale here so much, but Ross will later be naming a few things that if you feel priced out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale is a great option. Now, when to visit? It's a year-round destination. The one thing to remember is that when it is winter up here and it is 22 degrees, of course it's warmer in Miami. That doesn't mean that it's always super, super hot. So when I'm talking to clients who are thinking like, hey, we'll go for a weekend in January, I always remind them like, hey, it's going to be probably warmer than where you are if you're in the Northeast, if you're in Chicago, but it can get cooler. So you may have days that feel sort of like sit by the pool days, but not necessarily get in the pool days. I just like to manage expectations around that. And remember, Bahamas is the same latitude. So Bahamas and Florida, always warmer, but not necessarily always hot when you're in the deepest dead of winter. Other than that, great place to go year round. Yes, it is affected by hurricanes. Of course, we remember that from this season. So just keep an eye out for that. And again, it's just a little bit about managing expectations. Now, what are our top booked hotels? No surprises here. One Hotel South Beach. We love One Hotels. And I think that that's one that really does epitomize kind of what we were saying about Miami is for everybody. This hotel is also for anybody. It's families, it's groups, it's couples, it's everyone. Addition, not too far north from there, and Fina, just not far from the Addition. And then the Fontainebleau, it's big, but it checks a lot of boxes. It can be a little bit less expensive than those. And then Key Biscayne to me is a nice one to remember that feels much quieter. It really is on a beach. It's a little bit away from the fray. And same St. Regis Bal Harbor, same thing, but a little bit farther north. Love that Bal Harbor Mall as well. Now, what is happening right now in terms of news? Four Seasons Hotel Miami. Now, don't get confused. There's the Four Seasons Surf Club, which is on the beach in Surfside. Four Seasons Hotel Miami is actually downtown and I think was long considered kind of corporate, like not all that interesting. They have completely renovated it. It is looking amazing. And they have this gorgeous pool roof deck thing that's quite resorty. So, yes, you might see a lot of business travelers there during the week, but the weekend, not so much. It feels resorty. It's a different price point. So I like to remind people of that, especially now that it's gotten that upgrade. And Andaz and Thompson are both opening, which I'm really excited about. Beyond 2025, there's so much happening, but there's also a lot of delays. So we actually, when we did our hot list this year, I think we initially had Miami on it because we're like, everybody's opening in Miami, Cipriani, Amman, Rosewood, Auberge. And then we talked to all of them and they were like, ooh, delays. So we're going to hold on that. I bet it's going to be in our 2026 hot list though, hopefully. Now, Miami 101. Actually, Ross, do you want to talk a little bit about this? Because I feel like you know these neighborhoods. Like as much as I'm in Miami, often I'm just running around the hotels and maybe you can share a little bit about some of your favorite neighborhoods.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of Miami as a city of neighborhoods, similar to how you might think of New York, where you're going to get a different flavor, different feel based on where you are in Miami. And I know we mostly think about South Beach, the warm weather, being by the water, but Miami does have so much to offer. So back on the mainland, you have Design District, which is high-end luxury shopping, very pedestrian friendly, tons of outlets there, including lots of our favorite eateries that are here in New York, but have open outposts in Miami. Design District could easily fill half day or even full day, and great to pop into a few stores, stop for lunch, have a few cocktails. Design District is absolutely a recommendation for any of your clients who are very into shopping and very into amazing food. Of course, we have South Beach. We're going to talk a lot more about South Beach, so I'll just kind of gloss over that for now. But over on the mainland, you also have Wynwood, which is very close to Design District. Wynwood, I think, has seen a huge come up over the last 5 years or so. Incredible art scene, lots of activations, great food, really amazing coffee shops. So for anybody who's really into art and just getting out in the streets of Miami, Wynwood is a really, really wonderful option for them. Great to pair with Design District if you have just a 3-day weekend and you're trying to spend most of your time over in South Beach. Brickell is going to be adjacent to downtown. It's kind of a newer development, very popular, lots of high rises, but again, very walkable, great nightlife, and lots to do there. I would think of this as more like an upscale version of downtown, and downtown is exactly what it sounds like. It definitely has its own vibe and its own scene, but lots of high rises and a lot of your more corporate feeling hotels will be in downtown.
And you do have better proximity to the cruise terminals from there too. So that's one thing to think about if clients are doing a night prior to a cruise, which we always recommend. You don't want to have a flight delay or cancellation make you miss your boat. Downtown can be a place where not only is the price point better, but proximity, because traffic can be really bad, is better for the cruise terminal. You don't need to be in South Beach for that night. Maybe the night after. And then we have our sample itinerary. We're covering a lot of this separately, so I won't spend too much time on this, but just know that this is helpful to think about how you're organizing your days. Sometimes people don't want to do anything. They just want to sit around and they're not going to ask for a lot. But I think it's nice to give people at least a general sense of if they want to get off the beach, get away from the pool, if the weather actually isn't that warm, how to structure just a few days. And we have some great options here too on layering in fun restaurants. So yes, what to do. We talked a bit about this. Wynwood, I love the Wynwood walls. It's also, that's a great thing too. If you have kids, that's a fun way to do art without them saying it's boring. There's nothing boring about the Wynwood walls. Really cool street artists from all over the world. Design district for the shopping. The beach is fun. It's a great beach. Remember that the beach chairs, you're going to have to either have them at your hotel or you'll have to pay for them. So you also can just bring a towel along the way. And then really great art. We've got contemporary art. We've got more sort of traditional art museums. The Vizcaya Museum and Gardens, those gardens are beautiful, beautiful. So really fun thing to go walk around. And then I love a boat day. It's really fun going out in a boat in Miami. There's lots of people you'll find that sort of there's areas where everybody is sort of jumping off and everybody's playing music. Really fun is, and you have to plan this ahead of time. So, but tell clients this, you're organizing a boat day that you can actually go to the Standard Miami to have lunch and you can just roll up in your boat. Feels pretty cool. And then a bunch of restaurants. Some of these are newer, some of these are older. Casa Tua has been around for so long and is still such a hot spot and now opening everywhere. There's the Casa Tua in Aspen. There's Casa Tua now opening, I think, in the Surrey here in New York, but it is still iconic. Same with Joe's. But then a lot of the other spots that are going to be a little bit newer, really sceney. And these are great recommendations from our advisors because we have a lot that are out there. So I'm flipping through them quickly. We don't need to talk through all of them. But as Ross said, you'll see a lot of New York staples that are down there. Who is it? Somebody was just saying they actually think the Carbone in Miami might be better than the Carbone in New York.
Ooh.
Big words,
We
but
should go to both and find out.
maybe we just need to go to both and find out. And the one in Vegas. Just eat a lot of pasta. That sounds really good right now. And then nightlife. You don't often see us talking about nightlife in these trainings, but actually, when it comes to Miami, it is worth mentioning because there is great nightlife and it can vary in all kinds of ways. So there's really big clubs. There's places like the Broken Shaker that's really more of like a fun cocktail place, just sitting around pool. So it depends on what people are looking for. And it also is something where you can do relatively easily. If you want to commit to a big night out, you can, but you can also do something within your hotel. So if you're in the Addition, they've got the club in the basement. It's like hard to call it a basement. Downstairs, subterranean, but you're not going to hear it from upstairs. So if you want to go down and you're staying there and just sort of dip your toe in the nightlife and then go back up, you can do that. And the Fianna Theater, we highlighted the Fianna earlier this week in our hotel spotlight. It is so cool and so sexy. This is 100% a place for sort of getting dressed up and having a cabaret shows, different kind of nightlife. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to pass off the hotel portion to the amazing Ross, who will share his thoughts and opinions on all these great properties. And I'm going to head to lunch with Rosewood, who is not yet in Miami, but says that they're coming.
Thanks so much, Henley. And we should also mention, I think the Proper is going to be opening in Miami too, which wasn't on our list, but it's certainly going to be
I feel like it's
anticipated.
literally everyone. When I was down there, there's for LE Miami, which is a conference, a travel industry conference. And I was down there with a bunch of our advisors. I felt like all of South Beach was just signs saying, this is coming soon. This is coming soon. It'll be interesting to see how it changes the fabric of that neighborhood if all those hotels do open up. Because right now, a lot of South Beach is like t-shirt shops and, kind of a little bit touristy. And if you suddenly have this influx of higher end hotels, especially in those beautiful old Art Deco buildings, I think it could be fun to see what happens to just the retail and the dining scene around there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I know you need to hop, Henley, so please do whenever you
All right.
need to.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Henley. I think something helpful to mention before we really get into the hotel scene is that the city of Miami Beach is different than the city of Miami. And the city of Miami Beach actually does not allow for short-term rentals. And so whenever clients are going to Miami Beach, they really will need to stay in a hotel. And that's why I think the hotel scene has really just taken off here. As Henley mentioned, the Art Deco buildings are really beautiful, and they always do a great job of maintaining them whenever they go through renovations just to preserve that classic Miami Beach style. One Hotel South Beach is certainly one of our favorites. As mentioned, our top booked hotel. It really is an absolutely incredible property. This is actually the original and first opened One Hotel. We had a spotlight with their team earlier this week, and they confirmed that it actually opened ahead of the New York property. And so it has just always done a great job of maintaining that level of service and has a fantastic location. This is an absolute top pick for most travelers when they come to Miami, assuming that it works within their budget. This is a great hotel if you want to do some celeb spotting. They have a number of pools, both on the ground level as well as a rooftop pool. which is where I've seen a couple of celebrities, which is kind of fun. And of course, they really do focus on sustainability and wellness. So if you have clients who are looking to both enjoy everything that Miami has to offer while relaxing back at the hotel, one hotel is going to be a really, really wonderful pick. And of course, our clients get the special extras through our partnerships when they book through Fora. The next property that we'll highlight, as Henley mentioned before, is the Four Seasons Surf Club. This is going to be in Surfside, just north of Miami Beach. So it is going to be a little bit more tranquil and quiet, better for clients who are looking for more of a relaxing vacation, don't feel like they need to be in the heart of it, but really want to prioritize a resort feel with excellent service that the Four Seasons always delivers. So keep this in mind if the clients are sort of open to being outside of the action, but still want to be adjacent to everything. If they want to pop down for dinner or still fly into Miami's airport. We can't talk about Miami hotels without talking about Faina. But the Faina Hotel in Miami Beach is just truly an icon. They're not afraid of bold colors and bold programming. It's a true complex with not just the Faina Hotel, but they have shopping, they have dining, they have a smaller outpost, which we'll talk about in just a moment, called Casa Faina, which is more of a hacienda style hotel. And it's just a destination in and of itself. Their restaurants are truly top notch. And they have like a wood fire grill restaurant called Los Fuegos, where there's no gas in the kitchen. It's all open fire and it can't be missed. So even if you just have a moment to pop in for dinner or maybe a drink, Faina is a must on any Miami itinerary. We also should talk about the Addition. All of these hotels are located very close to one another, but the Addition really does stand out for its beautiful lobby, mostly white, but it also has some speckles on the floor and it's marble, and it's just really, really well done. It has a signature scent, which everybody loves, and it's just truly jaw dropping. When you are at the Addition, if you're not staying there, I highly recommend popping into the Matador room for a quick drink or even dinner. But of course, if your clients do want to stay here, it is one of the top picks. They are a Marriott Stars property, so they will get additional perks and amenities whenever you book them there with those rates. This is great for those Marriott loyalists who want to stay in a Marriott property but really feel elevated in Miami. The Miami hotel scene can get quite pricey. All the ones we just mentioned do run on the higher side for the nightly rates, and that's not always within our clients' budgets or not always what they want. So we also wanted to highlight some more budget-friendly options in Miami just to make sure you had something in your toolkit to always share with your clients. Hotel Greystone is a great option in South Beach. It's adults only, so not great for families, but certainly great for clients who are looking to have really more of a party weekend or just don't want to be around kids in the hotel. Esme Miami Beach is also one of our top booked hotels. It's very small, very cute. So it's not great for every client because the rooms can be a little snug, but it is helpful to have in your toolkit once again because it does come in at a really good price point. Great location, hard to beat the location, and they have a really nice rooftop where clients can have a drink or just sit out and enjoy the sun. Casa Faina is another option, which I mentioned. So, if Faina Hotel, which is the larger oceanfront property, is out of budget or just maybe not the vibe that your clients want, Casa Faina, just across the street, is a really wonderful option. It's a converted hacienda style hotel, so very different vibe, but very, very fun, cozy, and cool. Kitano of Tulum fame actually had an outpost here, and I believe is still there, but they had a rooftop presence, and their lobby was very jungle vibes and just really set the scene for a great stay. Kimpton Epic is downtown Miami. So if they don't want to be in South Beach and they're open to an option in downtown, Kimpton Epic is a really good option for clients as well. We're going to do a few more honorable mentions because, again, we want to make sure that you have some options. Henley mentioned Four Seasons Hotel Miami. That's going to be in Brickell. So, again, not a South Beach option, but something to keep in mind. We can't talk about Miami hotels without talking about the Standard. As Henley mentioned, if you do have a boat experience, you are able to pull up right to their dock, go to lunch, grab a drink. The Standard is not in, it's not oceanfront, but it is still waterfront. And so I actually really like the Standard's location for clients who don't want to be in the heart of Miami, don't want to be around a little bit more of the traffic and the party scene, and are really looking to have sort of a hotel destination in and of itself. One of my favorite things about the Standard Spa is if you are a guest of the hotel, of course, you have access to their pool, but you also have access to their spa and wellness center, which they just recently renovated. And that typically can come at a higher price if you're not a guest. So it's a really great way to add value to a client stay who may be really interested in the wellness aspect of a hotel stay. The Betsy is on South Beach, and that's another great location, very close to Esme, and it's just an icon. So if you have clients looking to stay in really one of more Art Deco and iconic properties, the Betsy could be a great pick for them. A little bit further north, we do have the Bal Harbour complex, which is great for luxury shopping, lots of dining and other things to do there. The St. Regis definitely steals the show in Bal Harbour, so a great option to keep in mind for clients who might want more of an elevated stay, close to shopping, but not in the heart of South Beach. And then the Carry On Miami Wellness Resort is exactly what it sounds like. It is a resort fully focused on wellness and great for clients looking to rejuvenate and recharge and say yes to all those spa treatments. The Satai is going to be very similar in location and feel, very wellness focused, beautifully done, but not in the heart of all the action. Whereas the W South Beach is in the heart of all the action. And the W South Beach for me really stands out because even though it is a W hotel, which is typically part of Marriott's Luminous program, this property in particular is part of the Stars program, which means you have the more generous perks and amenities. And I can't tell you how many times clients and advisors have just completely praised the W South Beach hotel team for their level of service and commitment to VIP experiences for clients. So just wanted to throw that in there because if you do have a Marriott loyalist, W South Beach is a really fantastic option and their team does deliver. We love that. Some other things to know. There are, of course, some signature food items in Miami. Some people say Miami is the northernmost city in South America. Of course, it's actually North America, but a ton of influence from Latin America and South America. You'll find Cuban sandwiches many places. Key lime pie is a very popular favorite for many people. Of course, stone crab and ceviche as well. And in terms of dress code, the general vibe in Miami is pretty casual but intentional. So you'll see people walking around in, swimsuits, t-shirts, shorts throughout the day, but in the evening they really do go for glam. So, especially if you're getting out to a nicer restaurant, don't be afraid to pick the nicest outfit that you have and really strut your stuff in Miami, or of course go shopping while you're there and get inspired. Miami, of course, is home to many film sets and movies, my favorite being The Birdcage. So I always require this as pre work for any clients who are going down to Miami. But you also have things like Miami Vice and Scarface, Moonlight. Just recently, there's the TV series Assassination of Gianni Versace, which was filmed right there in South Beach in front of the former Versace mansion. So it's really, really easy to share some pop culture references with your client to get them excited about their trips. Miami's also really leaned into a lot of its events and celebrations lately. Of course, there's F1 Miami, which is very popular, so something to keep in mind. South Beach Wine and Food Festival is always very well attended. You have a few music festivals like Ultra. Can't forget about Art Basel, which happened just a week or so ago. Truly transforms the city, becomes a little bit hard to navigate. So you have to be very thoughtful about going back and forth between South Beach and the mainland, particularly if you're going to be in a car like an Uber. So I always like to make sure when my clients are going for a special celebration weekend that we pick the right location of a hotel for them so that they're not constantly stuck in traffic, which can get quite bad on some of these very popular weekends. Miami doesn't have to be the only place your clients go in South Florida. It can be a really great jumping off point to visit many other areas, including places like Palm Beach, a little bit longer drive up to Orlando if you wanted to pair this with a Disney experience. And then, of course, you can also go south to the Keys. People love the drive between Miami and the Keys. They actually find it to be part of the journey and really enjoyable. Of course, you can fly to Key West if you wanted to go all the way to the end, but people really do enjoy that drive. So, something to think about if you wanted to add on an extension for your client's trip. And of course, Miami is a jumping off point to many places in the Caribbean. So, if you wanted to pop over to Bahamas, it's a quick flight, easy to pair with maybe Miami for a night or two, and then more of an extended stay in the Bahamas. And Miami is also one of the key jumping off points for many, many cruises. There are so many cruise lines based in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So you will certainly have your clients stay in a hotel before or after those cruises. We always recommend that clients arrive the day before embarkation day. So as an advisor, it's always great to have some go-to hotel recommendations for clients who are going to arrive a little bit early. Miami's not everybody's scene. So I just wanted to also highlight, if not Miami, where can you go? Where can your clients still get excited about? Fort Lauderdale would be the most proximate and obvious option. Fort Lauderdale is going to be a little bit more affordable. It's going to be a little bit more low key, but still have, tons of great hotel options, incredible food, nightlife and things to do still, just not quite like the Miami vibe. Of course, they don't have to stay in Florida. So if they still want a Miami style experience, Palm Springs could actually be a really great option, especially if you're West Coast clients who maybe don't want to fly all that way and deal with the time difference. San Juan, Puerto Rico, a little bit of a different vibe, of course, and about a 2 or 3 hour flight from Miami. So it can be quite further afield, but can be also a great option for clients who want more of that Caribbean vibe. Cancun and Santa Monica are also on our list. So just giving you some ideas to think about if Miami isn't going to work for your clients for whatever reason. All right. Well, I think we covered all of our questions. I hope you found today's destination debrief for Miami very helpful and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.